The following segment is sponsored by Smith Injury Law and 300hurt.com.
Understanding insurance coverages may not be a fun topic, but it is an important one for anybody who gets behind the wheel of a car. Attorney Richard Smith from Smith Injury Law is joining us this morning to talk about it. Hi, Richard.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good to see you. We are talking about a few things people want to know. First, with gap coverage. This is a relatively new invention, but you say it's great because it's the only way you can get your full money back if somebody totals your new or your almost new car, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people don't realize that when you buy a new car off the lot, you automatically have got a depreciated vehicle when you drive off the lot. And even if you buy a used car, if you think you got a great deal, there's always the depreciation factor, especially if you don't put a lot of money down on the car. Mm-hmm. That's why gap insurance is there, and it's fairly inexpensive, and that will help you in case somebody totals your car. The gap insurance will kick in and pay the difference so that you're not left paying on a car that you don't own.
All right, so the gap coverage covers that difference. Another coverage to understand is MedPay coverage, which pays medical bills without fault up to the limits of the coverage. And you say that's a good one to have too, right?
Absolutely. It's also a very inexpensive coverage. You can get anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 or $15,000 in coverage. And it's just extra money that's there to help you during the process, because it takes a while to get people's cases settled. And if you can use the MedPay coverage to pay on your medical bills or to get you some help while you're waiting on the settlement, it's very good to have.
All right. Now, what do we need to understand about underinsured coverage and stacking coverages?
Yes, underinsured coverage is extremely important. That's the thing I want people to walk away with today, understanding is that underinsured coverage protects you if somebody hits you, causes severe injuries, and they have very little insurance, like the state minimum of $25,000, $50,000 per occurrence insurance in South Carolina. And that makes a big difference because you can easily have hospital bills or doctor's bills that exceed $25,000 if you are at the hospital for one day.
And now, well, the stacking, now it applies to not just you, but also the members of your household. Stacking is kind of complex, and attorneys who don't regularly handle cases may not understand, but you say that's an important one too.
It's very important. And you can stack in South Carolina uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist coverage, depending on the vehicle that you're in when the accident takes place, and of course, the extent of your injuries. Mm-hmm. If you're in an owned vehicle, one that you own, that makes you a class 1 insured. And on a class 1 insured, you can stack the limits of, if you have 3 vehicles, for example, and you have $100,000 underinsured coverage on each vehicle, well, you've got 3 vehicles, so you've now got $300,000 in coverage available to you, depending on, of course, the severity of your injuries. You may never reach that number, but it's very important and something that's not intuitive. Most people don't think, hey, if I've got 3 cars on the same policy, I can stack coverages. Right. It's something that you would never think of on your own without an attorney, and not all attorneys who try to handle auto accident cases are familiar with the stacking rules.
Right, which is why it's wonderful to work with you. You've got the understanding of all these issues, and you even want other people to learn the same thing. You have authored the book, 10 Critical Mistakes to Avoid If You're Injured in a Car Wreck. It covers all that. People can request that book from you, and they can work with you at Smith Injury Law. Your practice includes personal injury, workers' compensation, car and truck collisions, and Social Security disability claims. Anything you want people to know about your practice before we let you go?
Well, absolutely. It's very important to understand these coverages and be careful. Make sure you purchase underinsured coverage, because I hate to see situations where somebody has a lot of damages and they only have the liability coverage of the defendant, and it's oftentimes the state minimum. That's the only thing you can do to protect yourself from being hit by an underinsured defendant is to purchase underinsured coverage. It's very important to buy that coverage from your insurance company.
Well, people can contact you. They can request that book by calling 300HURT, or they can visit 300hurt.com. Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Margaret.